Hello and welcome to Creating with Mrs. C. Today we are going to draw the Black Panther, and to do that we are going to use very basic shapes. So a little higher than the middle of your paper, you're going to create a square. It's a pretty small square, and this is going to be his face. It does not have to be a perfect square. This is just a very light, rough sketch. Underneath that square, you can go ahead and draw an upside down triangle. Again, this is going to change soon, so I'm just lightly drawing it. Above the square is half of a circle, so from one corner to the other corner of the square. For his ears, we're going to draw two straight lines up and down, and a diagonal line back toward that circle. At the bottom of that triangle, let's draw a line and a race. So we're just taking the tip off of that triangle. And to make his neck, we'll continue from that square down a little bit past his chin. And two diagonal lines will be his shoulders. We'll just go down towards the bottom of your paper. For his bottom of his neck, we'll just kind of create like a letter V, and we'll make some triangles for now. So just some downward triangles for these claws. And again, they're not perfect because we're going to touch those up later, but it just gives you an idea of where to place them. Okay, so for his face, we're going to draw a line straight in the middle of that square that we first created, and this line is going to be where his eyes are. His nose will be right in the middle between his eyes and that bottom line of the square. So I just put like an equal sign right here for now for where his nose will be. If I follow the edge of that up, I can create his eyes, which are just two rectangles for now. They're pretty large. They don't go the whole way to the end of the square though. I'm gonna start darkening my lines a little bit and fixing these lines because we know that he doesn't really look like he has triangular ears. So we'll curve those a little bit on each side. Just curve them out. And his face is also not a perfect square, so we'll kind of round out his jawline and his chin. Just kind of softening these really hard lines and retracing them. I'm pressing super hard, but you probably want to draw a little bit lighter than I'm doing. And I'm drawing his shoulders a little bit less rigid from those original lines that we drew. Okay, so right under his eye, right in the middle of his eye, we're going to draw two lines, and they're going to touch the bottom of that square. So as you can see, I drew two lines on each side, right under his eyes, and they're going to connect to that line where his eyes are. So that line that we drew, and underneath those lines we'll draw a parallel line, so the same direction. For his eyes, I make a curved line from one point to the other point. And we want them to look kind of the same, so you might have to erase a little bit and adjust those lines. It's kind of tricky to draw your eyes the same. Underneath that first line, we will draw the bottom line, and it also goes over and to the corner. It's got some cool looking cat eyes. Okay, so right on his nose, right in between those eyes, we're going to draw a vertical line and another vertical line. Notice I left a little bit of space between his eyes. I'm going to come up here to where his ear is, and from that ear to the top of that square that we drew before, we're going to draw two lines. Now these two lines are going to come down to this line that we drew before. So I'm going to connect the dots kind of. One line and two lines. And again, one line and two lines. Awesome. So I'm going to do the same thing up here, only this time I'm putting two little dots right beside our last line, and this one's going to curve towards the ear. So I'm going to draw once and twice. Notice that it's just a little curve and it reaches the point where the ear touches the head. And this time we're going to put two little dots on the inside of his eyes. And I'm going to connect the dots again. So from these dots to those two lines at the top, I'm going to connect. Again with just a straight line. And again, straight line. One and two. Okay. I just drew an upside down letter V right in the middle, right on that eye line. And I'm going to draw it twice. I'm going to connect that to the corner of his eye. From his nose, well, under his eye, I'm going to repeat that same curve. And then I'm going to connect it to his nose. And we'll draw that same curve underneath. And we'll connect that to the nose as well. So under his nose, I'm just going to make two little lines and turn those kind of into little tiny triangles for his nostrils. You won't be able to see them too well, but I still like to add them. And from the corners of his eyes, the outside corners, will draw up to his ear. And on his chin, I just drew two lines inward. They kind of come the whole way in towards his nostril. And at the top of his head, we'll make a small skinny triangle. It's just a line down. Notice that it went kind of past that original square line. And as I color, you can see that I sped this up so you could not be bored watching me color. However, you can pause it to see where I darken and where I lighten. But mainly, I start on the outer edges and I colored a little bit darker. And on the inside of his ears, I colored a little bit darker. And his jaw was a little bit darker. And I left those lines white for now until I shaded them in just a little bit. Just drew some energetic lines on his neck and his collar. And for his necklace of claws, those are upside down letter V's because they're not perfect triangles, they're more like a diamond shape, and the points curve inward. So I drew a curved line that curves towards the inside instead of a perfect diamond. Then I just kind of repeated that shape inside of each of these. So it's just the same shape, just smaller. And again, drawing that letter V or that letter U for his necklace, repeating it again. And that's basically it. So all that's left to do is to color it in, and you'll see that I again color the outside edges a little bit darker and the inside a little bit lighter. Colored those details inside of the necklace a little bit more and darkened it up a little bit because I thought it was too light. So I went with another layer, just gently coloring over everything one more time. And I can't wait to see how yours turns out. I'm sure it'll be wonderful. I hope this was simple and easy to follow. If you are able to draw this, please show me a picture. I love to see your art.